Hello friends, good morning and welcome to this new class. I hope you are all ready to listen to the class and to get more knowledge, more idea about the land, the present topic that we are dealing with. So we saw in the last class the land as a precious resource and how in India the land is made use. Some areas used for cultivation, some areas left as a fallow land, some areas used for cultivation, some areas used for construction and so on. So for different purposes the land is made use. So today let us see what is a land use pattern in India. That is what we are going to see today. You can follow in your textbook, page number 5. Land use pattern in India. So the use of land is determined both by physical factors such as topography, climate, soil types, as well as human factors such as population density, technological capability, and culture and traditions and so on. So the fact that how people are using the land, it depends on many factors, the natural factors as well as the human factors. So the natural factors that are affecting the use of the land is, first of all, it is the topography, how the top of the land remains. Is it a hill, up and down, or is it a plain area, or is it a deep valley? So it all depends on the topography. People don't like to use the slopy land because it's very risky. If you want to make house, you have to cut and then you have to level the ground. Then if you cut the land, then there can be landslide. So a lot of risk is there. So people prefer to stay in the plain land, not in the slopy areas. Then another thing is the climate. People prefer to have moderate climate, not too cold and not too hot. If it is a very hot region, then people don't like to stay there. And if it is a very cold region, always covered with snow and so, there also people don't like to use the land much. They like not very hot and not very cold, medium or moderate climate. Then another thing is that people consider to use the land is the soil types. What type of soil is it? Is it a fertile soil or is it a rocky soil? So those who want to use the land for cultivation, so naturally they will look for very good fertile soil. If it is a rocky soil or sandy soil, then people don't like to use it because they can't cultivate it and it won't produce much fruit. Therefore, if the land is good, people will prefer to use that. Then it is also like the human factors like population density. So if the people are more in that place, then they will occupy even the land that is not good because there is population is very high and the land is not sufficient. So we will be forced to use the land which is not so good. So the another factor that will determine the use of land is the population density, the number of population people there. Another thing is technological capability. So if you want to use a certain land, we need to have proper technology. For example, if there is a rocky area, then we need to use the technology to remove that rock. We may have to use Cbse or we may have to use bomb to blast the rock and remove it and make the land clear, or we need to cut and level the land. So technology, the modern technology is also required. With the help of technology, we can make use of the land. We can improve its condition and we can use or get better benefit of it. Otherwise, if we go with old technology, with a spade and knife, then the work may not be possible to convert the land into a useful land and so on. So modern technology is important, and also culture and traditions. So some people, the land belongs to them as a part of their culture. So they like to use that land because it is part of their culture. For example, a lot of people are they staying in the forest. It's not because forest land is very good for living, but it is part of their culture. From their ancestors onwards, they have been staying in the forest. They go for collecting dry sticks from the forest as a firewood. They collect the nuts or fruits from the forest. So it has been part of their culture, and therefore they like to stay there. They cannot do much cultivation there in the forest land, but they like to stay there. It is part of their culture and so on. So these are the factors that are determining the use of land, whether we should use the land or not. These are the things that I am going to determine. Then let's see, the total geographical area of India is 3.28 million square kilometers. In the previous class also we said how much of land area we have in India. It is 3.28 million square kilometers. This is the total land area of our country, 3.28 million square kilometers. And the land use data, however, is available only for 93%. So we do not have the data of the entire area, whether how it is made use. Is it used for cultivation, or is it used for forest, or is it used for some other purpose? We don't have. We have only the data available for 93% of the land we know how it is made use. It is used for cultivation, or it is used for some other purpose, or construction and so on. Only 93% of the land we know how it is made use by the people of India. The rest 7% of the land is we are not very sure how this land is made use. What is the reason? Let us see why this 7% of the land we are not able to know how it is made use. So it is because the northeastern states, they are not reporting except Assam. Assam, we are sure, we are aware how the land is made use in Assam. But in other northeastern states, they are not submitting, or they are not collecting the data. How much land is made use for cultivation, how much land is used for forest, how much land is used for cultivation or construction of houses, roads, other things. So it is not known how it is made use in some parts of northeastern states. And also in Kashmir side, some of the area is occupied by Pakistan, some area is occupied by China and so on. So there also we do not know what kind of activities are going on there. We cannot go and make survey there because it is a disputed area. It is occupied by Pakistan and China and so on. That's why the 7% of the land data is not available to us. So which are the places this 7% of land is falling? That is mainly in the northeastern states except Assam, and then in Kashmir, the areas that are occupied by Pakistan and China. Then so that's why we do not have 100% data not available, only 93% we have. And we can see in your textbook a chart is given there. Two charts you will find. The first one is for the year 6061. This is for 6061, and this one is for 2008 and 9. So the land that was used in 6061, this is what it is showing. 6061, how much percentage of land was used for cultivation, how much of land was used for forage, how much of land was used as barren land, uncultivable land, and so on. Then afterwards, after around 50 years, the situation of land is like this. How much land we have started using for different purpose. We will see both are not same. This is 50 years ago how we were using the land, and this is after 50 years how the land was made use. So different colors are given there. You will see 5 colors are given here and the 4 colors are given here. And the same colors you will find here. Here 9 colors you will find. So this is how the land is made use. Here also you will find 9 colors. So you can see nicely in your textbook the 9 colors are there, and that 9 colors are identified here. What is the meaning of these colors? They are identified here. That is the different percentage of the land that is made use for different purposes. Let's see how are they made use. So in 1960 the forest was 18.11. In 1960 and another one is 2008. So forest land was 18.11, but in 2008 it was increased. It became 22.78%. So before it was 18.11 percentage, and it became 22.78 percentage. So the forest land was increased. That means more trees were planted, and the area that is covered by forest was increased. Then the second one was barren land, wasteland. How much land is waste in India? We are not able to do any cultivation or anything. So early it was 12.01 percentage, and later it was reduced to 8. After 2008 it was reduced to 8.61. 8.61 percentage. So you can see we have made use the wasteland. Before 12 percentage of the land was waste, not able to make use for anything. But now it is reduced. Some of the wasteland we are able to make use, maybe for planting trees or maybe for construction purpose and so on. Then another is non-agricultural use. The land that is used for non-agriculture. So early it was 4.95 percentage, and after 50 years it was increased to 5.57. 5.5 percentage was used for agriculture, not agricultural purpose. That means for construction of road, construction of houses, construction of factory and so on. So that became more important. Then pasture land for the animals. Pasture land. How much of pasture land was made use? In 1960 it was 4.71. 4.71, and later it was made to 3.38. So the pasture land also is reduced. Early we were able to have 4.71 percentage of pasture land for feeding or grazing the animals, but later it is reduced to 3.38. Then area under miscellaneous tree crops and crops. So where some areas where the trees and other things are growing. So that is how much? 1.50. 1.50% is used for growing other trees and so on. But later it was reduced to 1.11. It was reduced to 1.11. Then the cultural wasteland. So how much of wasteland is there, which is culturally wasteland? Early it was 6.23. So cultural wasteland for 6.23, and later it was reduced to 4.17. 4.17. Then fallow land, some land that is left as fallow, free. After one time cultivation, they leave for few years without cultivation. How much of land it is? So before it was 3.50 fallow land. 3.50, and later it was reduced to 3.37. 3.37. Then current fallow land. At present, how much land is used as a fallow land? So before it was, we shall write on top. So 1960. So current fallow. Before it was 3.73, and afterwards it became 4.76. Then the cultivated area, soil area, that is the highest, which is the area that are used for cultivating regularly. So before it was 45.26, and after 50 years it became 46.26. 46.26. So this is how the land is made use. In the year 1960, this is the percentage of the land that was used for different purposes. But in 2008, 2009, this is how the land is made use. So you can see the net sown area, there is an increase. 45 became 46. Then so 46.24 is. Then the fallow land is increased from 3.73 to 4.76. Then the forest area is increased from 18.11 to 22.78. The wasteland is reduced from 12 to 8. Then non-agricultural land is increased from 4 to 5. Then pasture land is reduced from 4 to 3. Then where the trees are not growing, that is also reduced a little bit from 1.50 to 1.11. Then cultural wasteland is also reduced from 6.23 to 4.17. Then the fallow land also also is reduced a little bit, 3.50 to 3.37. So we can see this is how the land in India is made use for different purposes. Now, the land under permanent pasture has also decreased. So we notice that the land under pasture 4.71 it is reduced to 3.38. So the place which was meant for animals to graze, it has been reduced. So in India we know we have so much of land, so much of animals are there. So if we are reducing the pasture land, then where are we going to find place for all these animals? Some places if you go, we can see the animals are roaming around in the road. They are sleeping in the road. They are creating traffic block. So because the animals are not having enough place for graze, pasture land is not there. So the land that was meant for pasture, it has been used for other purpose, for cultivation, for growing forests, for construction and so on. So that is a dangerous trend. And most of the other than the current fallow lands are either of poor quality or the cost of cultivation of such land is very high. So some places we said it is left as fallow. Fallow land is very high. What is the reason? That land is useless. It's a wasteland or it is not fertile. So if farmers want to do cultivation there, then they have to spend a lot of money. It will be very expensive. And at the end, the harvest that they get will be very less. The crops that they are harvesting will be very less. So economically it is not viable. That's why the lands are left as a wasteland. Hence, these lands are cultivated once or twice in about 2 to 3 years. And if these are included in the net zone area, then the percentage of NSA in India comes about 54% of the total reporting areas. So, this land that is not very fertile, they cultivate once in 2 years or once in 3 years. So, that is not included as the net zone area. If we include that also, then this will come up to 54%. So, if you include the fallow land also as a net zone area, instead of 46, it will become 54%. And the pattern of net zone area varies greatly from one state to another. So, the land that is used for cultivation, that is not equal everywhere. Some states they are using plenty of land for cultivation, and some states they are using very little land for cultivation. So the percentage is not same everywhere. Let's see some example. It is over 80% of the total area in Punjab and Haryana. So Punjab state and Haryana state, they are using 80%, more than 80% of their land for cultivation. So you can imagine, more than 80% of the state land in Punjab and Haryana, they are using for cultivation. That means farmers are more there, more cultivating work is done there. But if you go to Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, how much land is used for cultivation? They use only just 10% of their land. 90% is used for other purpose. Which are the states using only just 10% for cultivation? Some of the northeastern states like Arunachal Pradesh, Manipur, Mizoram, and also the island Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So these places they use very little area for cultivation, and the vast majority of the land is used for some other purpose. So what could be the reason? What do you think the reason? That Punjab and Haryana, they are using 80% of their land for cultivation, while Manipur, Mizoram, Arunachal Pradesh and Andaman Nicobar are using only just 10% of their land for cultivation. What could be the reason? So it is mainly because of the land. So northeastern states are hilly areas and therefore it is not very suitable for cultivation. While Punjab and Haryana, they are part of this northern plain and the land is very fertile, and if they cultivate they get very good harvest. Therefore the farmers are encouraged to cultivate more and more and get more results. That is a difference. So the forest area in our country is far lower than the desired 33% of the geographical area. So it is the desire of the country that 33% of the total land we shall keep as a forest. But at present, after the independence, we have only just 18.11%. And now also it has increased but not up to the mark. The desired rate is 33%. That is 1/3 of the land we want to keep as a forest, because forest is so important to bring equilibrium in the environment, to keep that the atmosphere pure, clean, and so trees are taking a very big role. Therefore, we have realized the importance of increasing the forest, and we have increased a little bit, but still we are lagging behind. We need to have more forests. So it was in 1952, the National Forest Policy. The country made a policy that we shall have 33% of the land set apart for forests. And it was essential because to maintain the ecological balance. If the trees are cut down, then the ecology is affected and the climate changes, and so a lot of problems will be there. So people were aware about it some 50-60 years ago, but still it has not been put into practice because of the lack of land. The population is increasing, and therefore people are not able to keep the land aside for forests. And the livelihood of millions of people who live in the fringes of this forest depend upon it. So forests are important not only for maintaining the eco balance, but the millions of people are also living in the side of the forest. We said earlier that they like to live in the forest, part of their culture, part of their tradition. So millions of people are living along the forest. So when we are cutting down the forest or encroaching the forest, we are destroying the life of these people as well. Their lives are affected. And a part of the land that is termed as wasteland, and land put to other non-agriculture use waste includes rocky, arid and desert areas. So some areas we saw here, it is a non-agricultural it's a wasteland or culturally wasteland and so on. That is the wasteland, really useless land, not able to use for cultivation, not able to do anything. It is completely useless and wastelands. And continuous use of land over long period of time without taking appropriate measures to conserve and manage it has resulted in the land degradation. So when we use this land for cultivation, zone area is the biggest area that we are using for cultivation. So when we use continuously year after year, then the quality of the soil also is reduced. The soil is getting degraded. The fertility of the soil also is lost. That is also a main worry that is in front of us. Then what we need to do is we need to have the proper management. We need to have the proper planning how we should use the land, how much land should be used for forest, how much land should be used for cultivation, and the use of fertilizer should be regulated. If we use too much fertilizer, the quality of the soil is lost again. So all these things should be there in our mind, and we need to have proper planning. Otherwise, each one will do what he likes, and you'll be looking at immediate benefit, and in the long term we will be suffering. So in order to avoid such kind of disaster, what we need to do is we need to have proper planning, and we need to have proper advisory board. People who are ignorant should get advice, proper advice from educated people, from officers and so on, and accordingly they should plan out the use of their land. That will help to retain the soil, its fertility, and to keep the land from being degraded and so on. That is how the land is used in India. So read your textbook nicely again and again, and try to find out how the land is used for different purposes and so on. So thank you for listening. We'll meet you again in the next class. Until then, bye.